gentlemen, welcome back to the MaxBet podcast, a podcast dedicated to gaming.
We're your hosts. I'm here with Landon Michael Jones, and I'm Mike McKiskey. Let's get started.
Let's roll. Hey, guys. Welcome back to the pod.
Man, we're back. It feels like it's been a minute. It hasn't been that long, but it feels like it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. It's been a busy month.
It's all these summer vacations, travel plans.
Everybody.
But it's 1,000,000 degrees outside. It's hard to get fired up to go sit in a room.
It is really hot. It was 118 yesterday.
It's too hot.
It's too hot.
I love the city. I'm from Vegas. I get used to it. I've survived many a summer, but still I get to this point and I'm like, why? It's just too much.
Do you utilize your little pool in your backyard when it gets this hot? You do?
Especially for the kids. Like the kids will jump in that. So it's like for those that have not seen it, it's basically an oversized hot tub.
Yeah.
But yeah, they love it. They'll splash around in that all day. Not heated, obviously.
Yeah.
So but it heats now. It was like 90 degrees, and it was just because of the sun. Like we didn't heat it at all. So yeah, that's a good way to kill the time.
So did you go swimming this weekend? What'd you do?
This weekend, did a little swimming. Got a lot of chores done, man. I was very efficient this weekend, which is crazy. But like I feel like you'll relate to this as we go here. But like the more you become a family man, the more your honey-do list grows, and it just feels good knocking it out. So I did a lot of like little household repairs. Took a bunch of stuff to the dump, which my son was awesome. He loved.
He loves the dump?
Yeah, well, because not the dump specifically, but he loves all the trucks, right? So you're sitting there, and so, all the trash trucks are going through, and he's like, look at all the trucks. Like, he could, every day, another one. Like, it's like DJ Khaled Jr. in there.
The funny thing about the dump is I've been taking runs to the dump, but my dump is our old office because I know where the trash can is. So I'm just in there throwing chairs and shit, like making sure no one's watching.
Yeah. He's like,
if you're listening, sorry.
We paid rent for a year. We're going to throw some stuff in.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have a trash account, you get the dump for free.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good to know.
Sit in line.
If you're in Vegas and you're listening to this, now you know.
Fun fact. Probably true everywhere, but definitely true here.
This is going to be a little different pod today.
Yeah, man. We got major life updates to share as we get going. We'll save those for a few minutes from now, but that'll be fun. Just us. Just missed everybody. Wanted to give a little update. So
if you're on your drive to work.
I was actually thinking, though. Driving. You're driving. We love you. Stay focused. So have you seen all this ChatGPT stuff?
Oh, yeah.
I was debating to see, like, ChatGPT, do you want to host the episode? I don't know if I didn't speak, but, like, you could probably teach it to talk, right?
We could do a ChatGPT episode.
It'd be kind of interesting, right? Just to go program the AI and go, what should we be talking about here?
We could throw it up on the old screen here if you're watching on YouTube. I guess that would be a little weird for the listeners.
We'll just have to really read through it.
Have you not used ChatGPT?
So we were at a team event in Chicago, and I sat for dinner next to one of our like lead engineers. Yeah. And she was like, so you know what this is? I go, well, I've heard about it. I've not used it. So she goes, text me a question. So we started texting. I don't remember what I asked. Some basic, just human interest question, not like a real industry question. And it goes, well, here's like a whole paragraph and a half on that. I was like, oh, that's interesting, right? And so then I go, and she goes, well, want to ask about table games? And so we started asking about like casino related, and it's like, well, here's this. And so at first it's giving you like the history. Well, table games were invented and right? But then it starts to understand what you're asking, and it goes, okay, well, what's the best game? And it goes, well, 3-card poker is like, that's pretty spot on.
Yeah, so
it's like, it starts to learn, right? And where it susses this out, I don't know, but it started to align with what we know as like the trend best games. And so I was like, and then I've been down the rabbit hole of this AI thing. So it's like, you can actually teach it things. You can say, so like one guy was saying, hey, if you want it to write blogs, for example, so like part of me is like, oh, we should outsource our blog writing. It says you teach it who you are. So you say, so MaxBet Media is a podcast dedicated to gaming, and it's your two guys, right? You give them the story. Give it the story. I don't know if it has a gender. So you give it the story. And then it learns, and it goes, okay, and then you can ask, you give it other things. So and you say, okay, so then 10 things later it goes, if you want to write a blog, what should our next blog be? And it'll just spit out some like blog post for you. So
I'll have to send it to you. We filmed that movie.
Yeah.
Remember? And I wanted to write a script. So I put in there all the thing, and it wrote a whole script for us.
Perfect.
So we got to finish it.
NG, baby, we're coming.
I'm telling you.
We're back in action.
It's like we have all these tools at our hands.
Unbelievable.
And it's like you trying to build a house with a rock, right? Like if you have hammers, nails, screwdrivers, like why don't you use those?
That's right.
It's amazing.
It's funny you said that. I was reading a book this week. It's called Stretch.
Yeah.
So it's talking about people that get more out of what they have. Yeah. And they use that exact example. They say you'd be surprised at how many people need to hammer a nail into the wall and then they freeze because they don't have a hammer. It's like, oh God, now I got to go buy a hammer to put the nail in the wall. And it's like, or you just pick up a rock and smash it in. So I was like, so it's funny because the book I just read is like, use the rock to build the house. And you're like, don't build a house with a rock. So
just go buy the hammer.
Yeah, I guess
like
it's only
$5.
$10. Yeah, I don't know. The good ones are 20 at the most.
Yeah,
anyway.
we should do a little fun ChatGPT.
Little AI. We should have Kieran
like,
come back from gaming analytics. He's our AI guy. He's been our AI guy for years.
I wonder if he utilizes any of that in his technology.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it. He should probably come back on and talk about it. But yeah, he's been on a tear. Which is not surprising. With everybody doing AI this, AI that, I mean, it makes sense that he's been one of the leaders since, I don't know, a couple of years now and getting back in the game.
And as AI kind of starts to learn, because we have to figure out these different, like you said, it has to learn based on what information we're giving it.
I think
and
that's
it gets
right.
smarter and smarter and smarter.
I think that's
smarter.
right. Like my understanding is you show it a thing. So if you wanted to know that's a mug, you teach it that's a mug. And then if you want the mug to behave in a certain way, you go, okay, when I slide the mug, you need to, whatever, right? I'm just spitballing. And then it learns. And my understanding is you teach it a thing, and then it tries to answer your question like a student. And then you go, well, here's where you're right, here's where you're wrong. And then it now knows, okay, next time I won't make that same mistake. And so it just does, you do this iterative process of teach and response and teach and response. And then eventually it just knows things.
So, okay. I had a conversation, all this Noah Acres, right?
Okay,
and they're doing a bunch of cool AI stuff too. Different from what obviously Kieran's doing, but I only bring this up because it was a recent conversation. And so I'm not going to name the customer. We're having a conversation with the customer, and he was telling him all these great things, this data that they can retrieve from players' playing behaviors.
Yep.
But then the customer goes, well, then what? Then what do I do with it, right? So we have to get AI programs that tell us what to do with it. Because the more that we give to operators to learn, they're not going to do it.
Well, data, the problem with, so I think it was like 2003. I remember the stat when we were in college. So it was somewhere in the early 2000s. Somebody came online and said, in like the history of time, there was like some amount of data that was generated, right? So they said it was like, some terabyte, some huge number. They said, okay, but now that amount of data is replicated every 48 hours because of the internet. So you think about from, let's just call it the year 2000 till the dawn of time.
Right.
We as humans wrote down or chiseled or whatever we did, all content, a certain amount. Well, now it's like every 48 hours that is replicated with content. So you think about data, like there's so much data available.
Yeah.
Like I don't know that a human could process it. Like I don't know that even if you and I were the smartest two engineers in the world, which we're not, I don't know that on our own we could process that much data. Like you have to have the machine doing it because it's just so much faster.
The computing power of AI is insane. Like we go back to ChatGPT. And I don't know how much you've messed with it, but you can ask it to write something in like Shakespearean time. Like, and it'll write it like Shakespeare writes it, and it does it within a matter of seconds.
How about that for dating advice? I feel like that's going to save a lot of marriages. Just get into ChatGPT. So look, I kind of messed up today. I want to tell my wife how beautiful she is, but I want to do it like Shakespeare because I am not that elegant. When I feel like I can wordsmith some things professionally, but then I get home and I just feel like a caveman. I'm like, you look good. You're very good looking. And it's like, she doesn't care about that. But if I told her, some Shakespearean sonnet about her today, she'd probably like it.
You could even go beyond that. So now you can start stacking these AI programs. So you could use ChatGPT to write the script.
Okay.
Then there's other AI programs that you could take like Dr. Dre's voice. And then there's another AI program that will write you a rap song that sounds like Dr. Dre singing the Shakespearean love poem that you wrote to your wife in Dr. Dre's voice with a beat. And it's good. They're replicating.
I love this.
They did a whole, I think it was, I forget which artist it was, but they wrote an entire album and everybody said it was better than his original album.
Okay. So there's so many comments. First of all, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Like you just goof around. You go, let's make some Shakespearean, whatever, as rapped by Dr. Dre.
Correct.
We're big Dr. Dre fans.
That's scary though.
It's scary. Well, again, we're probably not significant enough that anyone would do it to us. But like, yes, if you're that famous and they go, well, we have all these samples of your voice, right? Because how many albums has Dr. Dre put out? Tons, right? And so you go, so now you can basically make it sound like he's saying anything. Because he's probably said it or inflected it in some sort of recorded media over the last, 30, 40 years. And then you go, now we're going to make him a racist, or now we're going to make him a poet or a whatever Nobel Peace Award winner, right? Like it's pretty crazy.
Well, how many people have been taken down by like voice recordings? Like they say something stupid, locker room talk, and it was kind of recorded on an audio device, and then boom, you're
But now you're saying you could fake it.
Now that's a scary thing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. The BS meters are getting harder and harder to register. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting to see how that all relates to gaming. I mean, is there going to be an AI program out there that writes a better game, math code?
Maybe.
Takes all the fun features that players are like attracted to and then writes an even better algorithm?
We should ask Drano. We should have one of our favorite Aussies on to chat about that because I have no idea.
Well, he might be using a rock right now.
Let's give him some AI. Give him a hammer. Give him a hammer. Let's do it. Yeah, I just think it's interesting because, like, you're right. Like, I don't, and again, like, how much does the science break away from feeling? Like, because I think to me, when you're looking at it, you go, well, the game design.
Yeah.
There's some, like, innately human element here, right? Like, you would say we should, it's more intuitive than it is just science, right? Like, there's absolutely math things. There's definitely things you got to study, but then you wonder, is that even true? Or are we all just robots programmed to like what we like because somebody, flashed a certain color sequence and set of bells or whatever?
There was, so I wrote, Brittany, just like we were talking about, like a nice love message, right?
With AI or yourself?
I wrote it myself, okay? You always want to write it. You always want to write it yourself, okay? And then you put it into the program. It'll like help create. It'll give you some ideas that you didn't think about.
Yeah.
Copy paste it, restructure it how you like it, put it back in, and it's just like you just keep kind of polishing it, right?
Okay. So how many drafts did you go through with the AI before you presented the love note to your
So I wrote, it was a short, like 4 sentences, put it in ChatGPT, and it wrote back, the message is good as it is. You should send the message.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Hats off to you, buddy. Yeah. So no drafts. You're just like, you're a poet laureate. Just get out.
But I think that's just an interesting, like, sometimes it can't have that heartfelt feeling. So maybe it knows, like, if
there's
that's
no
the
way
feeling that you have,
loving.
then
interesting. Well, that's
pretty
good.
Cool. So,
well, congrats on you for getting that right. So anyway, all that AI stuff, we should have Kieran back.
We should have Kieran back.
Chat with us.
And
Drano.
Yeah, because I want to feel like, I mean, it's been a while since we had Kieran on, and what he was doing then was awesome. And if it's true that AI keeps learning, I wonder what it's, I wonder how much more.
I wonder if he gets nervous as the CEO of an AI company that his machine now knows more than he does. Because at some point he was the guy, right? Programming it, telling it, hey, he's been in business 20 plus years, going, hey, this is what you need to know about the gaming industry. And now the thing wakes up and goes, no, this is what you need to know about the game. It's like sassing him back.
That's what you bring up is a good point. And we didn't mean for this to be an AI conversation, but it's kind of cool. So I've been following a lot of this, right? And even the old CEO of Google had quit because he's like, this is too powerful. And there's no, there's nothing in place to stop AI. There's no
no good on
restrictions.
No good for that guy. You can't just quit. You create the monster. You got to step in front of the monster, try to save it from attacking the world. You can't be like, well, I unleashed hell on you, and so I'm out of here.
So like the medical industry, right? There's regulations put in place to stop people from just coming up with random chemicals to get people to fix drugs that later down the road
you can't
you
just
lose
go
an
huffing
arm,
Clorox
right?
for the flu. Yeah,
but there's no restrictions put in place in AI. It's all open source. So people are taking this information and creating their own AI programs that are learning with no government or no real restrictions put in place.
Yeah.
And this is why it's scary. It's not saying that AI is going to take over the world and it's just bad. AI is only bad if it's in the hands of bad people.
Okay.
But the problem is we're creating these very powerful tools that bad people have access to.
Yeah.
But kind of scary.
It's a little weird. We definitely need to have Will Smith on the pod. All I hear you talking about is the main plot line of iRobot, and I'm like, we got to get
the only reason we can have Will Smith on this programming is because now you're in jiu-jitsu, and so he tries to slap me. I know you're going to pound him into the ground.
He can slap both of us if he comes on. You love him or hate him. He still has like 50 million followers. I don't think so. I follow him online. He's doing some cool stuff. He's always been charitable. He had a bad night, right? Whatever. Get over it. He shouldn't have smacked
real bad night.
Listen, no supporting what he did. I'm just saying, he's still a reasonably good guy.
Okay, so drop in the comments what you think AI.
But speaking of bald things, I guess as we transition from the Will Smith saga to our world.
Yeah.
St. Baldrick's coming up, the big shave event.
Yeah.
We've committed you.
Yeah, I'm
You're
in.
in. I know. That's so
Wasn't
good.
it last year? I'm in this year.
I know. You're good. You're
ready for the
We're
shave.
dialed in. That head of hair. And I kudos to you for just growing it out all the way too. You might have a very Viking-like flow.
I know. I'm a little nervous because I might really like it.
Well, that just gives you goals for next year.
Yeah.
So the goal, I think Dan set it up. So shout out Dan Inkster, who always organized. He's been doing this for far longer than we've even known about it, right? But he last year said, okay, if you guys are in, you're either in again or you got to send somebody in your place, right? So you're stepping up, and I'll probably still do it. I haven't talked to the family about it yet, but
they'll be in. That was a fun event. Your son loved it.
Dude, he raised so much money. He got like a couple grand just on the fly. he was like, Dad, what do I do? I was just give the money to the guy. Like, but he had a cup like this. They do buckets live, right? And so that was pretty fun.
And it sounds like we're opening it up this year.
Yeah, well, we were the second highest showing in the, I think, world, but certainly in the nation last year. So our team, MaxBet, driven by great donations from Light and Wonder, Aristocrat, Angel of the Winds, all the personal donors that support all the people on the team, raised over $160,000.
Have we talked to the Inkster about the name? Is it still the MaxBet Media founder?
Yeah, link Team MaxBet. So we're gonna we'll have a link out. So by the time everyone listens to this, we should have a link on our LinkedIn. Yeah. Go ahead and donate. Hit it up. Just if companies get involved, that's obviously how the numbers get super high. But we'll take anything. $20, you got change in your car, find a way to digitize it, send it in. Like no donations too small, and it goes to benefit the families of kids that are going through cancer battles.
Should raise the stakes. Like if we get to a certain, we maybe dye our hair before.
I'll dye. If you're shaving it on, you can do whatever you want to my hair.
I guess because
the end result is bald, right? So you want to dye my hair for a week before I shave it up? No problem. Yeah, it's interesting. I think the timing, though, I got to think about it because I'm going to this class like this in September. So I'm like trying to figure out, am I going to be like a bald prisoner at that class, or am I going to be like a normal, human executive? So we'll see.
How long did it take to grow back before you were like comfortable with the length? Like a couple days?
Oh,
because it's big, man. It's down to the wood.
Yeah, I think in a week you're probably fine. Like the real skin touch is like the first couple of days. And then by the end of the first week, you at least have like enough fuzz. I mean, it's not a haircut, but it's at least fuzzy for me. And then you went, I would say about a month in, I went back and I had, Elliot, shout out Elliot at the Garrison, shape it up.
Yeah.
But I got back to this little spiky level, I don't know, 2 months.
Okay.
My hair grows quick. Your hair grows quick. So like, I don't think you and I will stress this. There were some guys I think that were struggling a little longer than others on the
I'm just nervous program. It's going to grow back great, but I think a little salt and pepper might do this
just for men gel,
good.
buddy. You'd be okay.
Just for men gel. Is that a thing?
That's yeah. Do you not get the commercials? Maybe. Why? I don't have gray hair. Why am I getting served all these just for men gel?
Because you're just for men.
So I have kids and a wife. So like, you clearly need hair product.
So what's next? What do you want to talk about in gaming?
I want to talk about you. In gaming, nothing. I want to talk about you today. You're in gaming.
We got to save that for the end.
For what? How long is the end? We're good. Okay. One more thing, and then I'm going right to your life. I'm attacking the whole thing.
Okay. What is exciting you in gaming? You don't have to say tables because you're running a table.
I like tables. I've been winning some money. Yeah, I think there's just a lot of innovation on the horizon. I think so. It will probably, anyone, like you said earlier, that follows the Googles of the world and all this meta stuff, it will feel incredibly slow. Yeah. Right. But for when you're sitting in it, I think there's a lot of cool innovations coming out. A lot of like what we're doing, even cross-platform is starting to make a lot of sense. Seeing customers lean into that, and obviously the data behind that and how we're making connections there. So I think just the fact that it starts to feel like we're moving the ball forward on innovation in the business is big. And that's not true just for tables. It's true really everywhere. And I think that's the next big thing, right? And I do think there's going to be a point where you accept, I don't know where the breaking point is, but you're going to go, oh, we're doing that. Yeah. Let's just do it all, right? Like similar to the way I think sports betting is kind of the big needle mover in market as far as markets go for iGaming. Where you go, we're not doing iCasino. We're doing sports betting. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess sports betting is going okay. Maybe we can introduce, right? So I think that's been like, I don't want to say Trojan horse because it's not a negative, but it's like the beachhead.
No,
right?
That's right. I think that sports betting was the Trojan horse to iGaming, right? It's getting the regulations set up. It's getting the approvals per state.
So yeah, I'm just cautious to use that phrase because I don't think that like Trojan horse was a bad thing. Like Trojan horse sent it in and then the army came out of it and then they killed everyone, right? So like this isn't a negative. Like this isn't some destructive force. It's also like read your literature, buddy. Don't just tell the AI to read it for you. So like that's my only concern. So I think it's more of like toe in the water.
That's the question we're going to ask AI.
Is what?
Relate Trojan horse to iGaming.
Yeah. Help Landon write his blogs. So that's good. What about yourself? What are you excited for?
I think you nailed it. I think the cross-platform stuff seems pretty exciting. I think that we need to stay focused because the blockbuster effect is real.
Yeah.
Right? So we look at
adapt or die.
Yeah, right? Adapt or die.
It's changing.
And I think it's going to happen quickly when it does. And when it does, there's not really any time to recover. So when we look at cross-platform and digital gaming, like some of the games that they're creating online for online gaming that aren't in a physical box, to me are more fun. They're really creating different features in the slot ride that I haven't even seen.
Yeah. Do you think that is that just symptom of playing around, or is that could they put those features in the box, or is it like somehow?
No,
not?
there's nothing that's stopping them, right? I mean, it's
Just
all run on the same. I mean, it's probably a different,
server and all that.
servers
but it's
and all that.
Square window that you just click.
You could put it in a physical box. It's just different companies making different games, and most of them are focused online in Europe at the moment. But I think what's scary is I don't know if you remember Banyan. It was like server-based gaming where they could switch the games, right? I think again that was ahead of its time, similar to iTable. But when we start creating boxes that can host any style of game, so when I walk into a casino,
like thin client,
and I can just pick whatever version of box I like, whether it be a behemoth or whether it be a slim cabinet or a slant top or a dual screen or a whatever, right? Curve. And then I can play whatever game that I want to play on that box, then we're in trouble.
Who's in trouble?
I think everybody's in trouble because you have all these companies in Europe making these
troubling?
It could be troubling, right? Because now you get a third-party company that makes a box
you're saying
that
it
will
basically
host
introduces
games,
more competition than you're used to.
and it will do it like that overnight. So I think that watching that is fascinating. I also think what we were talking about earlier with the AI stuff and how that integrates into the casino business will be interesting. Just kind of like what Kieran's doing. But I think I think we're at just the tip of the iceberg right now.
No doubt.
So that's what excites me.
That's good. How you sleeping?
I sleep great.
Yeah, because you did a thing. So we'll get to your life update here. So by the way, the major life update is all Landon. My life is basically the same. I started training jiu-jitsu, so now I'm sore more than I usually am. But that's really it. I'm pretty boring. You, however, have now crossed 3 of what I would say life's major milestones in, I don't know, 30 days or less. I mean, maybe it's not quite that dramatic, but
it's not dramatic.
You just bought a house.
Got a house.
You bought a house with the woman who is now your wife.
Correct.
Which is pretty, congrats, by the way.
Thank you.
And you're going to be a dad.
I'm going to be a dad.
So you're like, you went from Pinocchio to full boy, like in a hurry, right? Yeah.
There's only one way to get
Which one of those you want to start with? Because I think all those are pretty cool. Start with the kid thing.
Well, I laugh because in the last 10 days, exactly. In 10 days, from today and 10 days ago, I moved. Mm-hmm. I got my old house ready for rental, which is a pain in the ass itself. Painting, fixing, filters, everything, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Then I moved into a new house. And while that was happening, we had in-laws in because we were doing a baby reveal.
Like you do. Yeah, exactly.
But before that, we went and got married too. So
did you do Elvis?
But that didn't end. So that was Thursday to Sunday. And then Monday, I got on a plane and went to our team meeting in San Diego.
That's right.
And left Friday. So to come back to more moving, right? I'm knocking microphones over here. I'm tired.
I bet.
But I've been sleeping.
That's good. That's
I get
all that
like
exhaustion you get, you're going to get to 8 hours a night, no doubt. Oh, man. So the dad thing's cool. I mean, look, I'm not downplaying the marriage or the house. I think those are pretty cool. But for me, just my view of the world, dad is probably my favorite title, right? So all the other titles are cool. So I'm pumped for you. So you did the gender reveal. What's the results of that?
Yeah, you can see it on my Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm not selfishly shamed
Lando
plugging my
MaxBet.
Instagram.
Yeah, it's a great follow.
Lando _
he posts way more than I do.
We posted the baby reveal, and when I saw the blue, it was like I won the lottery.
You look so relieved.
I was like
when you were like, oh, like, which is funny because I laugh. Like guys always ask, because I have both boys and girls, right? And I love them both in completely different ways, right? I don't know how to describe it. Anyone who has that would go, yep, I get that. Like, it's hard to explain. We can try, but like, I think I would have been happy for you either way. Like, and I know you would have been happy anyway, healthy kid, but I was like, boy, makes sense for you. I think just generally your energy and the way you do things, but man, a little girl would be fun too.
Yeah, look, I was just happy that we had a healthy kid. Yeah. Like at first, that's what we first found out, and I was happy about that because there's a host of problems that can come with having a kid. So I was happy that we have a healthy child, which is crazy that they can get all that information.
Keep it going. Yeah, exactly.
I think right now we're 17 weeks.
It's almost halfway.
Yeah. But I was excited to have a boy, and I would love having a girl too, but I feel like the boy is the intro to the baby for me. Yeah. Just like Blue, my dog, was the intro to getting a kid. Like I feel like I'll have more in common with the baby boy.
I still can't wait for you to have the actual human child because I don't take it personally. There was others around us that were a little more annoyed with you, but like when we had kids, you're like, "Why Blue? It's a dog. It's basically a kid." And everyone's like, "It's not even close. Like it is so far different." which you'll get in, I don't know, 17, 18 weeks from now. But I'll be interested to check back in with you. Let's call it early next year and go, so dog and human the same? How are we looking? Right? Because it's like, but to your point, like you don't know. Like it's the closest thing you have. So it's what you have. It's another level.
It's what's been the hardest so far about all of this. Brittany, who is
she's not
now
the
my
hardest.
wife.
She's the best.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
But she's very like so she's a physician. So she's very into like all these different things, like the chemicals. And so, I had to change my detergent, everything in our house. Like if anything smells like chemicals, it has to go away.
Makes sense.
Which I appreciate, but that has been like, it's been fun. So if you're listening, Brett.
That's an interesting ride. Yeah. I think, some of those changes will stick. Some of them will go back.
Yeah.
So I always think it's funny. So when you're now you've announced, like it's on Instagram, it's been, I don't know, a couple weeks since you put out that you're going to have one, another week or so since you said you're going to have a boy. The thing that I think doesn't drive me crazy, I think it's interesting, I think it drives a lot of the ladies crazy, is now everyone's going to give you advice on how to be a parent. Yeah. Right? Because it's inevitable. Like, well, you should do this, or here's what so have you gotten any tips that you're just like, A, you're crazy, or B, that's like super helpful? Like how's the advice front coming in for you? Because it's almost everyone's going to give you something.
Yeah, you know what? I think yes. So the best news is Brittany and I are on the same page with sort of like how we wanted to raise our child. But everybody's
only thing that matters, by the way.
Yeah.
Everybody else can sit on the sideline. If you two are aligned, that's it.
Yeah, we're aligned with how we want to raise our child. Information's already coming in, right? But some of it's good too. Like I look at Brittany's brother, who's raised two amazing children so far, right? They're a bit younger, but like some of the advice they're giving us, I'm like, oh shit, like I'm learning from them. And there's things that I can learn, there's things that I'll take, and there's things that I won't take, right? Everybody's different. But you're right, there has been a host of advice coming through already. I don't know what piece of advice has been the most, shocking so far.
Well, because I just remember there were some people, that were like, well, you can't do whole milk.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, yes, you can. Why not? Right? There's just like all these reasons that they get all strange about things.
I think the biggest one so far is the iPads. And by the way, I agree with that. I don't think screen time for kids is the best. And I've seen some raised in my family with screen times, and the kids are fucking hellions, right? They're just crazy. Like the amount of dopamine those screens give, it shuts them up, but it's going to have a host of problems later. Here I am giving advice now. I don't even know yet, but
my view of the world says you're not wrong.
Yeah.
It's just my opinion, but I think that's right. It's funny because now we talk about, so our kids are, 5, 6 years old. We have a 2-year-old too. So we actually start planning. So you mentioned the dog. This is where it starts to parallel back to the dog. So you have a hyper dog, like Blue.
I have 3 dogs too, just to add
fair.
To the family.
Okay, so that's its own brand of fun. A lot of changing of the diapers coming your way. But so what we would say is now we have to plan their energy.
Yeah.
Because to your point, you say, okay, you want to use your Kindle? Like we have Kindles, they do academic stuff, they do screens, not that it's 0 screens. But they're like, gosh, just 2 hours on the Kindle for school, we'll call it, right? Educational stuff. We're like, so we have to run you. Somehow, like we'll go play tag, get on the bike, do something, because otherwise it's 8 p.m. and they're like, we're wired awake. Like we are just completely, we didn't get exercise in, like we didn't energy. So that's like an interesting one. I'll just give you the best advice I got, and it's the only advice I give to anybody, is you won't screw it up if you're there. Yeah. Simple, right? So like I had a guy that I respect. He had 4 kids, 3 daughters and a boy. Right? He gave me some cool books. The book he gave me, because he knew I was having a girl first, was Strong Father, Strong Daughter. It doesn't apply to you. It's a great book. You can read it anyway if you want, but like it's more for girl dads. But the thing that he said, he goes, listen, if you're there, that's the battle, man. Showing up is the game. He goes, because you're not likely, he knew my personality, and I know your personality. You're not going to be the dad that like abuses them. You're not going to like malnourish them. Like so you're not the bad guy showing up. You're not the villain of the story. So like it's really that simple. Like, and you'll figure out the rest of it. Milk, no milk, screens. Like it's all just a guessing game. I feel like it's just, but if you're there, you're doing it. And that's like the only thing I say, because people say, well, what do you, nope, that's it. Just be there.
That's my biggest problem is going to be like, I don't want to buy him a mountain bike and he's 2 and he can't mountain bike yet.
But again, maybe.
Come on, let's go. Well, we got to get the
So it's funny. My nephew so they're more like that, right? Yeah. So they're more, not so much bikes, but they do like moto stuff. Like they do dune, sand rails and all. So we'll get videos, like I'll send videos of like our kids playing soccer, scoring a goal. I'm proud of them, right? And then they'll send back like him in like a 4-wheeler, just ripping it up, winning first place in his division. So it's like, well, that's kind of cool, right? So just different. Like they can learn it. So as long as you're careful about it, there's no reason. I don't know if 2 is too young or not, but like put them on a bike, like figure it out, they'll get there.
Go-kart racing, set them up for Formula 1. Golf sticks, set them up for golf.
That's it. Yeah. Sounds like you're really planning this thing farther out. Yeah. Are these things you wish you had done? You're like, I wish I had a better golf game. It could have been a race car driver. Like,
it's interesting, even how we were raised, right? And some of like, I guess the practices of raising children back in the 90s and what we've learned just as we evolve are different, right? And so I'm going to take some of the things that my dad did, and then I'm going to not take some of the things that my dad did.
That's all we can do. Yeah.
And I think the best thing that we're going to do is just support and let them kind of figure out who they want to be, right? Give them the tools that they need to figure out who they want to be, and then support those things that they like. Because there are things that I wanted to do that I probably would have been good at, and I never got the chance, right? So that's maybe another thing that we're kind of focusing on.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, and I think it's good. As long as you guys are aligned. The thing that, so this is probably not news to anybody. Yeah. Dad is generally not the stricter parent. Right? Yeah. Just a fact. I feel like it's more often than I know, but it's, for you guys. Yeah, that's how it is for, I think part of it for us is a symptom of she's there more. So she just has more opportunity to be like stricter. Don't go too far the other way though. Right. So like, I think the problem when it gets tense is when, I'm home, I'm just king of the good guys. I've been gone all day. I'm like, hey, we want ice cream. Let's do it. Let's go outside. We'll figure out. Like, dude, you're not Disneyland, pal. Like you're in this too. Like, so that's just that's more of a marriage tip as it relates to parenting versus parenting. But like, it's, yeah, man, it's fun. I'm excited for you because you're going to learn all the stuff. And there's no manual. You can ask 10 different married parents and they'll give you 10 different things, right? Like there's no right answer, but it's just fun to watch. You go on the roll. I'm excited to listen because you're going to come to the office and go, man, let me tell you what happened this weekend, or on the pod or whatever.
Yeah, it's, I enjoy it now, man. I'm excited to start the family life. I'm a little bit late in life, but I went full force, so I'm catching up.
The only right time is your time, bro. It's, can't rush it for somebody else.
So. But
that's exciting, man. It'll be, I just wonder. So I'm only wondering if our viewership is going to decrease now that you're off the market. Like I wonder how many single ladies were watching just as a first shot at Lando.
I highly doubt that.
That head of hair, I got to believe there's at least half a dozen.
Although my Instagram followers do go down.
Chris like, nope, not anymore.
I lost like 50 in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Jeez, what'd you do wrong? Like, no more shirtless Lando.
All my ex-girls are like, well.
That's a lot of ex-girls to lose. 50?
Bro, it's been like 20 years.
I guess you're 38. It's a different program.
Things add up. It's like, I'm a hoarder.
What else you got?
All right. I mean, I don't know. We can top that.
That's it. That's kind of the thing. So I guess thanks for listening. We just missed you guys. Wanted to say hi. Wanted to check in, give you an update on mostly Landon's life, but our life here. And
and if you're listening, Mike and I have been discussing this. We've had a lot of like, not so much operators on. We've had more vendor space on.
Creators, inventors.
We're looking for some operators. So
we have some coming. So I don't want to name them just yet because we haven't recorded it. But we have some ladies actually from Penn that are going to come on and. As part of the Casual series. So shout out Marker Tracks for that. We're keeping that thing rolling. But to your point,
if you're looking,
anybody, and like Benny was on it, I got a lot of good feedback on that. Like a lot of people went, well, that was interesting. Like I didn't think of it that way. Right. So a lot of, especially the operators that we tend to connect with, I feel like they're all knowledgeable. Right. Like even if you're not, I guess we can come stumble through it together. Right. But like there's so much value in people going, oh, that's how you laid out your floor. That was the thing. Like, even if the audience doesn't agree, they're like, oh, an interesting perspective, right? Yeah. And a lot of times it's helpful. Sometimes it's helpful to your point of what not to do, right? Or just different things. So open invite. Let us know. We're here. Yeah. Prefer you in Vegas, but if not, we'll dial you in on the screen.
We haven't done that yet.
No. We were supposed to do it with Simon.
Yeah, we should mess around with that next week and maybe pull up some AI questions and continue that conversation. But
we're here. But we appreciate you guys listening, staying with us. We're here. If you're not following us yet, please do. Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. And if you want more AI, check out Kieran, gaminganalytics.ai. Otherwise, take it easy.
And shout out to Light and Wonder for letting us use this beautiful studio.
Light and Wonder Studio. Let's get it. That's the money right there. And then shout out Dan for the MaxBet team for St. Paul. So we'll post links to all this.
And just shout out.
Just shout out everybody. Shout out yourself.
Shout out yourself.
Give yourself a hug.
Morning.
You did a great job. Okay, just peek it in there and say you're battling. Let's keep it going.
Thanks for listening. Peace out.
Later.